still exploring angle pairs like we did yesterday. So we're just going to kind of pick up where we left off, and I'm going to give you our first example right off the bat. This is example 3. And there's a little bit of writing leading into this problem. So here it is. Angle Kpl and angle JPL are a linear pair. The measure of angle Kpl is 2x plus 24. And the measure of angle JPL is 4x plus 36. What are the measure of angle Kpl and the measure of angle JPL? It's a lot of writing, sorry. First thing we need to talk about is a linear pair. Do you know what a linear pair is? I may have mentioned it yesterday. I don't remember if I said it in here or not. A linear pair. What do you see in that? Daniel.
Well, linear is like a straight line, so a pair of angles that form a straight line.
Exactly. So a linear pair, you're going to see that a lot throughout geometry. It is two angles, so a pair of angles that form a line, a straight line. So if you have a problem like this and they say KPL and JPL are a linear pair, basically what you're doing then is you're drawing a picture of two angles that form a straight line. Now at this point you're not going to be able to draw it to scale because you don't really know what your values are going to work out to because we have an unknown of x. But we just need a visual for now, okay? So we're just gonna draw a ray in and name them. So if it's KPL and JPL, what point needs to go here?
L.
Yes, it's L. Which one's the vertex? P. So P, the middle letter is always your vertex, right? So P is going to go here. And then both of them have an L, which is what's got to be in the middle then, okay? So, and they'll usually give you the picture. I just want you to get an understanding of how this is coming. So this would be KPL. This would be JPL. And we want to figure out the measure of each of those. Now they told us KPL is 2x plus 24, so that's this angle, 2x plus 24. And they told us JPL is 4x plus 36. So if you are a visual learner like I am and need to draw the picture to see it, there's your picture. What do we do with it? What do you know about a linear pair? Daniel.
The sum of the two angles is going to be equal to 180.
Right. So whenever it's forming a straight line like this, right, that angle measure is 180 degrees. So if I have the two expressions for that 180 degree angle, I can add them together. So 2x plus 24 plus 4x plus 36 should equal 180. And now from here it's algebra. So 2x plus 4x is your 6x. 24 plus 36 is 60 equals 180. Take away the 60, so 6x is going to equal 120. Divide by 6, and x is going to be 20. Okay, the question asked, what's the measure of angle KPL? So what do I do for that? KPL. What's the measure of this angle? What do you got to do? Plug it back in, right? So if we know x is 20, we're going to plug that in right here. So it's 2 times 20 plus 24. So that would be 40 plus 24, which is 64 degrees. Okay, but they also want JPL. So JPL is this 4x plus 36. So the measure of angle JPL is going to be 4 times 20 plus 36. 4 times 20 is 80 plus 36, 116. So the measure of angle JPL is 116. How do you know you did it right? Is that a hand up? Oh, come on. You know the answer. How do we know we did it right? What do we got here? You add them together, and they should equal 180, right? And they do, so we know we got it right. Okay? Any questions on that? Really, it's angle addition postulate. It's just now we are working with a linear pair instead of them telling us the total is fill in the blank, right? It's a linear pair. Okay? All right. Next thing. We're going to talk about an angle bisector. We talked about a segment bisector before. Do you remember what a segment bisector does? What does it do to the segment? Yeah, Daniel.
It's the middle, right?
It goes through the middle, so it's making two equal parts, right? It bisects, it cuts in half, is bisecting. So an angle bisector is a ray, or it could be a line technically that cuts through, but typically it's a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. Okay, a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. Remember, this is the symbol for congruent. I'm just using shorthand because it's less writing. So an angle bisector will look something like this. You'll have an angle. So say this is angle ABC. And we draw in a ray here so that this angle is congruent to that angle, okay? This would be considered the angle bisector. So BD, ray BD, is an angle bisector. Okay? All right, last thing. Can I move on? You guys are gonna have a lot of time today. Lots of time. Okay. If I tell you ray AC bisects angle DAB, if the measure of angle DAC is 58, what is the measure of angle DAB? And here's our picture. So if AC bisects DAB, here's DAB. This isn't really drawn to scale. So it said AC bisects DAB. So AC would cut through here. Okay. And it bisects it. And they tell us that DAC is 58. So if DAC is the angle we're looking at as 58 degrees, then what would the measure of DAB be? If DAC is 58 and AC is a bisector, what's DAB? Do you see it? Can you tell me what CAB is? You can give me the whole thing either way. 58 would be the other one, right? Because it's bisecting, they're going to be the same measure. So we know those are congruent because of this word right here. Okay, if they tell you it bisects, that means you have two equal parts. So you're not assuming they're congruent. We know they're congruent because it says bisects. So if they're the same, 58 and 58, then DAB, this angle, is what? 116. So 58 plus 58, or 116 degrees. Make sense? So what you're looking for today is if they tell you that something was bisected, you have equal parts. If they tell you something's a linear pair, you need to add them together and set it equal to 180. Or if they tell you the whole measure of an angle, you need to add the parts together and set it equal to that whole measure. Okay? So two different ways you can do the problem. Make sure you're not trying to do all of them the bisector way or all of them the linear pair way. Okay? Pay attention to what they've given you and choose which way do I set it up. Questions on that? That's it. We're done. And you have almost a half hour. You have 25 minutes right now. So see what you can get done.